What's good, y'all? It's me, Chris, back here with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing Insecure Season 4, Episode 3. So we start off this episode and we see Lawrence. And my first thought when I saw Lawrence pop up on my screen was, Lawrence. I hate investing any time into this man. So he's in the mirror practicing a speech for a meeting that he's going to be having with his with some investors in his app. I can't tell if he was at Condola's place or if we were at Lawrence's apartment. I have a feeling that we were at Lawrence's apartment because Condola wakes up with no head wrap or her hair is perfectly styled. I find that to be like untrue for a lot of black women. So I had a feeling that maybe we were at Lawrence's apartment, right? So we're in Lawrence's apartment and they're in bed and they're talking about their Thanksgiving plans, and Condola is saying that she's having a Friendsgiving, and Lawrence like, oh, would you like me to come? And essentially just invites himself to her Thanksgiving, and she's like a little taken aback, and she's like, sure. And then we get to the title card, Insecure. I guess these first two scenes, two or three scenes in the episode seem to like set up later on in the episode. We really don't get much, but to kind of like set up the conversation that goes down later on in the episode. So we have Lawrence going to his meeting, and it turns out the investors were not available. And he asks the receptionist if everything is all right, and she says, yeah, no problem. Fast forward to Lawrence and Chad in a scene together in a car, and Lawrence is telling Chad that the investors may have pulled out, and he has a lot of uncertainty with his app. Honestly, I just really don't care that much about Lawrence and Chad. I really have nothing invested in this conversation. They are two sides of the same coin. Lawrence is just like the nice version of Chad. They both like bitch ass niggas, ain't shit ass niggas. I really don't like investing much time in their conversations. You know, for the straight men who watch the show, I guess it's good for y'all to feel some type of representation. But like I said, like patriarchy is fucking insane that you need to like see yourself in every single environment when the show is focusing mostly on black women. Anywho, triggering. But we get to the restaurant. Issa is sitting there doing a little bit of work. She's having a little bit of lunch, and Issa runs into Lauren. They have a quick little banter. They have a cute exchange about movies, and then Condola pops in, and Condola and Lauren are apparently having lunch as well. Issa tells Condola, hey, I'm sorry I stole your spot. This is really cute. It's a good place for me to come to and do my work. And she's like, you know what? I'll leave though. Like, I see what y'all got going on. I ordered food to go. And why the worker had to embarrass her like that? Meatball sub and a matcha latte for Issa? For here? Issa? Issa Rae, the actress, played this scene so well. I know she is like the queen of awkwardness, but I think she just does quirkiness so fucking well. She has really good comedic timing. I laughed twice within a matter of seconds in this scene. She does awkward and quirkiness so well. The writing is done so well. So then we cut to, we also see before she leaves the scene with her lunch that she has a thought. She looks at Lawrence and Condola and contemplates something. And we're not sure what that is in that exact moment, but we get to explore that later on with the scene with Amal and Issa at the Mexican restaurant, which I'm going to talk about. Issa and Molly are grocery shopping. Molly needs 12 avocados for her 12-layer dip. 12 avocado. Molly got money. Did you see the price on those avocados? And she wanted 12. I get it. She was having like Thanksgiving. But damn, when you say I need 12 avocados without blinking, you got money. So we see Issa on her phone checking out Insta story, seeing that Kelly having like pre-Thanksgiving turn up. For a second, I thought that, damn, are we gonna get Kelly as another comedic trope this episode? But that was the whole Insta story and seeing what people were doing during their Thanksgiving time was a common thread all throughout the episode. And Tiffany and her husband and also Chad was some comedic relief. So I said, okay, thank you. At least we got to see comedy from the other characters as well. It wasn't just Kelly providing us with all the comedic overt relief. So Molly and Issa are grocery shopping. Molly is asking like, hey, Issa, should I invite Andrew to Thanksgiving? We're exclusive now. We've been dating for a few months. And Issa's like, are you trying to run him away, girl? Like, and Molly's bothered by it. You could tell that Molly is bothered by it, but she doesn't say anything. And that is where she fucked up. She should have addressed it, or at least let her know that, like, hey, I don't like that. You have a lot of this shit is just not people. A lot of these things that's going on in this season is just a lot of not people like checking things as they see them, as they experience them, and things just continue to snowball to something bigger. And that's what we're going to see through this season. But you could tell it's just these little instances, it's these little misunderstandings that lead into something greater. And so Issa jabs at Molly. Molly doesn't acknowledge it. No problem. She's like, what are you doing putting all this shit back on the shelf? She's like, I don't have time. I don't have money for this. Me and Condola are already on tight budget. And Molly's like, dig. I'm surprised that you and Lawrence and Condola are still, going through with this thing, acting like everything's okay. And she's like, yes, fine. In fact, like I just saw Condola and Lawrence at a restaurant yesterday. And she was like, it's fine. And Molly's like, well, I'm glad your throuple is working out well. And Issa's like, wasn't you just in a throuple with Dro yesterday? And Molly was like, wasn't you just fucking for free weed and toiletries? Dig after dig after dig. Shade. Actually, it wasn't shade. It was a read. Straight up just reading. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. So was Issa. Was like, what is going on? Things have been so off for you and I. Should we talk about this? And so they decide that they're going to have a conversation and address their issues on Thanksgiving. I thought that was really weird. I think that Thanksgiving is a day of a lot of obligation and family. I wouldn't want to add any more like duties and responsibilities to then add another really important conversation with my friend. I thought that was interesting, but I guess because they're just very familiar that it didn't seem like too much for Issa to come over to Molly's after Thanksgiving. But that's the least I would have wanted to worry about, is a conversation about our friendship and about our grievances on Thanksgiving. But I couldn't tell if the incidents that were happening prior to the actual Thanksgiving day was the day of, days prior to. I wasn't sure. But we get to Thanksgiving and we see Condola and Lauren setting up. Side note, all the girls are shading Condola's name. I done heard y'all say Condoleezza, Canola, condolences. I'm like, why y'all do that poor girl like that? She is so nice. Except for this episode. I will say, finally, those nicknames of Condola have been warranted, because this whole, friends and bourgeois just rubbed me the wrong way. It had me reminded that, oh, she is friends of Tiffany, the bougiest one on the series. So of course Condola was going to be having these type of friends. Condola low-key is just like a nicer version. Everyone's just nicer versions of someone else in the series, but Condola is just like a nice, quirky, less inconsiderate version of Tiffany. So of course she's in the same circle of these bougie ass blacks. But we moved into Molly and her family, and I love this dynamic. It's cute. I think they did really good casting on this family. I think it's good to be able to see Molly outside of her interactions of work and Issa. The episode of last season or the season before where we had their family was really good, just to expand on Molly's universe. Molly and her mother having a cute open conversation about, would have been appropriate to invite Andrew to Thanksgiving, and she's like, do what you feel, don't have this man thinking that what you want and what you need is too much. I was like, oh, I love mamas. I couldn't imagine not having a black mom. I'm really sorry for all y'all who don't, but I love black mamas. So we move on then to Issa and Amal. Issa's walking up to her mama's house and is like, look, we're going to be here for 2 hours and then we out. I'm like, Issa's my girl. Issa, I always have said, I'm Issa. Issa said, I'm driving and we out in 2 hours. Before we even get up in here, let's not act brand new. So countdown starts the moment we step up in this door. I loved it. She walks up and Amal's like, oh no, is mom on a stretcher? Like, what? There's an ambulance and there's a stretcher, and it turns out that it's just their mom's husband Stanley. He slipped on some gravy, and now he got to go to the emergency. Their mother is played by the lovely Wendy Raquel Robinson. She's from the Steve Harvey Show and The Game and many other roles. Lovely to see her. There was part of me that would have wished that their mother was dark skinned, but totally fine. There's plenty of dark-skinned children that have light-skinned parents. I don't think this is a Kenya Barrett situation whatsoever. It just would have been nice, but it didn't bother me whatsoever to have the lovely Wendy Raquel Robinson. I hope she shows up later on in the episode. Later on in the series. I think this would have been like unfortunate way she wasn't fully utilized. She's like comedic genius. Like she's just as funny as like Issa Rae and Raven Simone. Like it was Wendy Raquel Robinson first. Like comedic, really good. So their mother is like, oh, can you entertain the twins and y'all have a good time with the family? And I was like, I don't fuck with no twins. They dip out to a Mexican food restaurant. Lovely. I love to see it. Totally my type of attitude. This past Thanksgiving, me and my cousins, we said fuck Thanksgiving and we took a road trip down to LA. After so many years and all the formalities and all the obligations, you just want to do something outside of the norm of Thanksgiving, especially if it's just not giving what it used to give anymore. So I was with it. I was with that scene very much. So we transition back to Condola's Friendsgiving, and a few more friends have joined the party. One of her friends are played by Robin Thede. She's on the Black Lady sketch show on HBO. Her and Lawrence are having a conversation in the kitchen while they're pouring drinks, and Robin's character is just telling Lawrence, like, I really love what you're doing for Condola. I love, especially after her divorce, like I told Condola, like, you know, just go out, have a good time, experience some fun, just implying all the things that Lawrence is just a rebound, and anything that they've established is not serious. I was really surprised that was the focus of the scene. To me, I didn't realize that a divorce had been mentioned in previous seasons before. That was, to me, was like the shocker of the scene, but apparently it was just the fact that Lawrence is a rebound. I don't know if I missed something. I watched a few reviews last night, and apparently that was something that was discussed before. We get to my favorite scene of the episode, and it's Amal and Issa having dinner in this Mexican restaurant, enjoying margaritas. I love seeing Amal. I hate that he's played by the straight man. I really do. But I do think that this actor, I believe his name is Gene or John, I'm not sure, does a lovely job. I do think he is really likable in the role. Like I said, I don't like that he's played by a straight man, but I do think that he does a lovely job in this role, and I love this dynamic. They're sitting there eating dinner, just reflecting on the past Thanksgiving. Amal brings up the fact that he had to bring his boyfriend and introduce him as his roommate in past Thanksgivings before, and just how ridiculous that was when one of their aunts brought a married man, like just showing how stupid homophobia is. I love that little quick commentary. It was really cute seeing them sit together and exchange the food and just like enjoy themselves, because you could tell that they were not going to enjoy themselves at their mom's Thanksgiving. So it was nice to see Amal and Issa just enjoy themselves. Issa brings up to Amal like, hey, I saw Lawrence and Condola at the restaurant a few days ago. And he's like, how'd you react? And she was like, it was fine. And he's like, are you good? Because I would have been petty. And she was like, you know what? It really did bother me. I'm telling y'all, give Issa an Emmy. The acting, Issa, this episode, flawless. Her acting was flawless. She was so vulnerable. It was like me, a fly on the wall. I was just like so enamored and sitting on her every word when she was speaking and expressing how she felt, because it was a valid ass feeling. But she tells them all, I'm bothered. Like, I was with Lauren when he was potential. I was with this nigga when he was a work in progress. I stuck around. There was so much support and patience, and here Condola is, and she's reaping all the benefits of the work that I put in with him. And I'm like, that's real shit. That's real shit. And she's like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't feel like this. And I'm always like, no, you got the right to feel however you feel. fuck that nigga. And I love that so much. Like, to me, it didn't seem like Issa was saying, like, oh, I want to get back with him. It was just a matter of fact of, like, you put in a lot of work in a project or in your homework assignment, and it just turns out of not how you expected it. It ends up, maybe you put in so much work for a promotion and it ends up going to someone else. You invest in a company and you see them grow the moment you quit. Like, I think it's just, I think this scene did a good job of just contemplating kind of like the what ifs or just the disappointments or just seeing people move on further. I don't know. I thought that it was a very valid feeling for her to have. And I'm glad that Amal didn't dismiss it whatsoever and he supported his sister. It was so cute. It was so cute. I love this scene so much. I would totally love, like, if we just got to focus on them a bit more. Maybe they had a whole episode of adventures. I love them. So then we go back to Molly and her family, and Molly is in the kitchen with her brother having a conversation. And Molly's brother is like, what's wrong with you? Why are you still mad at Dad? Like, you found that out last year. That happened decades ago. Mom has forgiven him. Dad has owned up to his actions and committed to making things better. What else do you want? Get over it. And I agree. Molly, you a grown-ass woman. I'm going to assume everybody is around like 29 to 32. You are hella adult. This ain't got nothing to do with you. I understand feeling how you feel, but get the fuck over it. Also, I'm not really sure why we brought this storyline up. I don't know if it's supposed to be a parallel to her to see Issa's dynamic with Lawrence and Condola in a different light, because Molly is very invested in traditional ideals, right? Like, that's why she held on so much to the idea of, that's why she's so mad at her father, because she held on to this idea of her mom and her father being this perfect picturesque couple. That's why she's kind of bothered with Lawrence, Condola, and Issa, just the idea of still interacting with your ex and your ex's current partner. Like, Molly is heavily invested in traditional ideas and has a hard time of just letting go of that shit, of divesting from that shit, of realizing that there's other ways to live and exist. Great conversations. The brothers was coming through with facts this episode. I appreciate them. I appreciate having siblings. I have brothers. I also have, I have brothers. I couldn't imagine not having siblings. I don't know what it's like to be an only child, but brothers came through for this episode. They represented. Get over it, Molly. Loved it. We're back to Lawrence and Condola finally. I'm kind of tired of this dynamic. I don't really want to care to see this relationship through the perspective of Lawrence. I'm interested to see it through the perspective of Condola and to see how it see how it mixes with Issa. But like, seeing the scene, we're clearly seeing the scene through Lawrence's perspective. I'm just over Lawrence. So Lawrence is like, thank you for inviting me. I had a great time. And she's like, yeah, I'm glad you came, but I didn't really invite you. Like, people had a problem with this, but I feel like she said it in a jokingly manner. And I feel like she said, like, it was better with you being here. And he's like all upset. So Lawrence confronts Condola about what Condola's friend said about Lawrence just being a rebound. And she doesn't really give Lawrence any good reassurance. As for Lawrence feeling that way, like, yeah, Lawrence feeling insecure. But, like, Condola really doesn't, like, what's the word? She doesn't, like, yeah, she doesn't reassure him. She doesn't de-escalate. That's the word I was looking for. She doesn't de-escalate the situation. Like, she kind of just is like, oh, my bad that she said that. She wasn't, like, she low-key was apologizing that he found out. And that's not really how she, then that, she apologized for her friend and not actually expressing how she felt. Weird. And she's like, if anything, I should be the one that's concerned about exes. Like, look how you and Issa interact and you guys are telling jokes and y'all share the same friends. And I'm like, I thought everybody was copacetic about this. I guess this is just now us settling into this dynamic and seeing like people are not okay as we thought they were. I don't know. To be honest, I really don't have much commentary on this scene. I am now, unfortunately, very invested in seeing how this is going to play out. I am like, ooh, what's going on? What's going on with this? But like, I don't really care that much overall. Like, they could break up. Lawrence can go. Candela can go, especially after this episode and seeing how she responds to Lawrence and her friends and who she runs with. I'm good. She asked Lawrence, "Oh, would y'all still be together if she didn't cheat?" What kind of question is that? Of course they still would have been together if he didn't cheat. Like, of course. What kind of question are you asking? It literally was all on him. It was his lack of care and his lack of showing his value to Issa that made her feel that she needed to get that somewhere else. And she cheated, and the nigga left. But yeah, they were still been together. There didn't seem to be any other problems with Issa otherwise. It seemed to me when we first started this series that Issa was coming into this series with all the problems. Lawrence was just copacetic, and I feel like also Lauren didn't feel that much remorse for, sitting up on the couch for years and years and years. But anywho, yes, of course, if Issa didn't cheat, they would still be together. What kind of question is that, girl? You setting yourself up for failure. Issa's dropping off a mall, and the mall just reminds her, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. And they hug, and they still say, "I still hate you," which is cute. You love hate your siblings. Issa texts Molly and say, another time. And I forgot to mention earlier on, when Molly in the middle of the episode is like, "You do, girl. You do you, girl." I was like, what kind of response is that to your friend? Like, I don't know. I think there is really a lack of communication in here. You could tell that they're throwing their hands up, but without really trying. It's interesting. I'm like, I want y'all to try first before y'all throw your hands up. Molly has a resolve with her family. Cute. I hope we get to see more of that. Lawrence is on the couch. He's looking for LaToya, and he's watching stories on social media. He sees Issa's story from the time that they were at the Mexican restaurant, and he responds with a laugh emoji, and then the end of the episode. I love how they end these episodes with the songs. We have Maya, Case of the X. I chuckled when that song came on. They do such a good job with like ending the episodes on a high note with the song choice. It's a golden standard rule that is totally okay to stalk, your ex on social media. You can even follow them if they know about it, but like, you don't engage with them. Like, he knew better than to not respond with a laugh emoji. Like, Lawrence is really pondering this idea of like this what if, like is everything finished with Issa? I am curious to see where we're gonna go with Lawrence in this. I think that it is fine if they have a conversation. I'm totally fine if Lawrence and Issa has a conversation just to explore this, but I don't want no kiss. I don't want no sex. I don't want to see them together. I don't want to see them together. Please, 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 please. We can explore this, have conversations without seeing them back together. I don't know what Lawrence brings of value to Issa. Like, Issa is up, and here Lawrence come. Niggas. That's what niggas do. But anyway, that's my thoughts on this episode. This video is kind of long because I feel like there was a lot of components to this episode for 30 minutes, and y'all want longer episodes. Didn't you feel well fed this episode? How fitting of it to be a Thanksgiving episode too. Alright, that's all the thoughts. Like I said, please leave your thoughts in the comments below. What parts of the episode stood out to you? Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye!